Good late evening, ladies and gentlemen, and this is James Ramos from At the Quarter Pole, and here's my 2026 San Felipe, San Anita Big Cap, and Tampa Bay Derby's pick. Now I'm going to start with the race that had the most value, a little bit value, and that had the most interest, and that'd be the San Felipe Stakes running at Santa Anita Park this Saturday. And the pick I like is So Happy. Now, he's at 2-1. He's a horse out of Run Happy. And normally the Run Happy's horse gets a little bit short on endurance, but he did win the Malibu Stakes when he was running as a 4-year-old. And I think at a mile 116, he's not too far for So Happy to run. But you got to remember, it's still a mile 116. But So Happy, he's got the rider assistants, Big Bunny, Mike Smith. And normally Mike Smith only picks the big races now. He's almost 6 years old, so he's not running every race. He doesn't have to, but since he's on his horse, watch out for So Happy. He's my pick, the Flashy Fritz, and the other Dan Blacko horse. I have the information here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give 1 second. And that'd be Start the Ride. So both of them horses, I'm gonna take the exact was So Happy, Start the Ride, and Flashy Fritz. And the reason why I like these two horses, they're moving up in class, and you're gonna see value. Now people are saying, well, you're not going to take Brandt. No, I'm not taking Brandt. But let's go back to Flashy Fritz. Came in an incredible second in a claimer race. He's moving up in G2 company. And in my book, and even the way I handicap, I like horses, even as a price, going up in class. Why? Into a G2 company. It's a small field, compact field. And Dan Black, who's a trainer of both these horses, thinks he has a reputable chance. I believe that too. What Flash I ride? Flashy Fritz. And the other horse that he has, the number 2 horse. Give 1 second. Start the Ride. So Start the Ride won the, as I had the information, the California Cup Derby, restricted to Cowbreds. He's now moving up to the G2 race, which also, again, is moving up in class. They're going to have exceptional value. I got to try to make some money in this race. So Happy is only at 2-1, might be bet down even farther down about 7-5 or 8-5. I don't want that in win bet. And also with Brandt coming off a 4-month layoff after running third in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year. I'm not sure if this horse is also distance compromised. He ran against Ted Noffey, who was a championship 2-year-old horse last year, but he just faded badly, gave a little bit of fight, but not very much, maybe for a second or so, and just yielded to Ted Noffey. I did like him as my pick in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, but I don't know if this horse wants to go on my 116th the way he ran last fall. It doesn't say that this horse wants to go this run. He's not a gun runner, I know that, but I just don't have the confidence to pay him below even money to take him an exact or a win bet. So even with So Happy, my pick in this race there's not going to be a win bet. That's why I'm playing the keys at the box with So Happy with the other two aforementioned Dan Black horse. Now on to the Santa Anita Big Cap and short field. The main contender, the horse I like coming from the East Coast, is going to be Just a Touch. I liked him last year during the late spring when he ran in the Met Mile. He was also had a shot in that race. I thought he ran okay considering Raging Torrent that won the race had won previous 2 G1 races, one at Santa Anita Park and also one over the Middle East. Now the thing with that race that's quite interesting, that Raging Torrent ran that first quarter in 24. Now championship sprinter running a 24 at a flat mile at one turn. And it was a great field for 4 horses. You got to remember White Embargo that won the 2025 Pegasus World Cup and came second this year's Pegasus World Cup was in that race, and also Fierces, who won the Pacific Classic this past year. So it was a tremendous field. He's in class-wise, Just a Touch has too much class for these 2 horses. Now they had the 2 Bob Baffert horses running in this race, which was Westwood and a Getaway Car. I believe both of them don't want the distance amount of corner. That's either Getaway Car or Westwood. I just think they're going to be distance compromised. If they do win and set a slow pace and Just a Touch is not even close, or for whatever reason he's not feeling well, it doesn't run, they might run that mile 1/4 in 2:04. And just being honest, those other 2 Bob Baffert horses are not very fast animals, and they don't want to go the distance. Now, Just a Touch at the morning line, supposed to be at 2-1. Incredible win bet. It's about as low as I want to play a horse that wins at 2-1. I don't want anything less than that. Now, if it goes less, which I believe would be more 7-5 to 6-5, I don't want it. And that's the way the horse racing goes now in the California area now. The big cap was the main race for older horses for so many years now, ladies and gentlemen. Now the money goes into Saudi and Dubai now, and you can't blame anybody taking a horse out there. 20 million for one race and 12 million for the next race. You don't see the older horse talent out in the West Coast more this time this year. They go somewhere else. And also with the Eastern horses, with the Pegasus Cup at $3 million, they stay home in the East Coast, and they just want to stay and make the big money, which I don't blame them. I'll be the same way. But for the Santa Anita Big Cap, which has rich in tradition with one of the greatest trainers of all time that won many big caps, Charles Whittingham, the Bald Eagle, horse like Lord at War, Gate Dancer, Round Table, Cougar. I mean, the list goes on and on. One of the greatest trainers of all time, and that's why his picture on my banner is a tribute to the great Charles Whittingham, the Bald Eagle. So my pick in the Santa Anita handicap will be Just a Touch. Now on to the Tampa Bay Derby, and this is another spectator race, ladies and gentlemen. I don't see any value in this race. I already know what I'm going to say, who I like in this race, and that's going to be Further Ado. With the Puma, it looks like an exacta box. It's not competing anything. So like I said, it's a spectator race, a race to look at with quite interest. That Further Ado took the race or the races with the less resistance, meaning he should get an easy points going to the Kentucky Derby. His next race, he's going to have to up his game, because I believe he's going to win this race, and that ship, God knows where he's going to ship, but it's going to be a lot better competition. Now, the Puma ran second well in the Sammy Davis Stakes race at Tampa Bay. He's a horse that shows quite ability, and he might need a little bit more seasoning. These 3-year-olds are a little bit different. He doesn't have the speed as Further Ado, but he has a touch of class, in my opinion, to run with them and at least run a credible second. He'll get points moving on. It's a 2-horse race. Looking at through my eyes and looking at the daily racing form, Further Ado's a pick to the Puma. And I said it before, Spendthrift took the race of less resistance going into the next Derby prep. And the reason for it being, Spendthrift Farms had the number 1 horse in Ted Noffey until he got injured. So they're going to have to try to save face and try to find a way to get into the Kentucky Derby field. He's the second-tier horse right behind Ted Noffey. And if Further Ado does win the Kentucky Derby, then he is their number 1 prospect, of course, going in to later seasons, Travers, the Belmont Stakes, and maybe even the Breeders' Cup Classic. I doubt it, because the Breeders' Cup Classic looks like it's going to be full with high contenders. Other news that I have to mention today, Baez has already stabled out with Bill Mott Stables. He's resting comfortably, and I'm not sure, or even Bill Mott is not sure where he's going to put Baez in for his next race or what his plans are. Now, tentative plans for Sovereignty looks like the Oaklawn Handicap. Surprised me, because I thought his first race would be in Kentucky at Churchill Downs and Stephen Foster. That made more sense because he loves Churchill Downs. The Oaklawn Handicap was a little bit surprised. He's probably going to carry top impulse for the handicap. And it's a little bit of a weird track. I mean, I don't know how the composition. Is he on upset alert? Probably he's going to scare every horse in Oaklawn when he comes in full and ready to run. It seems like that Mr. Mott's been very patient with this horse, just giving easy gallops at pace and park. And I look forward to watching this horse run, because, as I said before, he is my pick for this year's Breeders' Cup Classic. Forever Young or no Forever Young. And talking about Forever Young, his next race, as I stated, would be the Dubai World Cup. Now, that race could be in jeopardy by the Horse Racing Nation. Also, Daily Racing for making note of what the conflict going on in the Middle East between ourselves and Israel toward the Middle East countries, and that is a big affirmative. That race might cancel out. It's a shame, because that race is supposed to garner 15, besides Forever Young, 14 other entries with an impeccable field. Other news is that journalism through Mike McCarthy might be running late into the spring, and they're looking at the Met Mile. And again, it makes sense. It's a one-term mile. Journalism has that kind of late close, but in the California racing, it's harder to close in California than that is in the East Coast in Bound Park because of the deep track composition. So I think I'll be waiting for him to run in the Met Mile. I'm not sure who he's going to run against, but he is one of my top horses looking into the 4-year-old campaign. back to Baeza going to Belmont Farm. Unfortunately, after John Sherris had passed away, Baeza got a really good trainer. I mean, no shame on John Sherris's work. He's been an exceptional trainer for years, for 4 decades. But going to the Belmont Farm, planning to have a good 4-year-old campaign, but I'm thinking Baeza is going to have an exceptional 5-year-old campaign, One Sovereignty, and Forever Young go to the reading shed. And that's all I have for you today, folks, ladies and gentlemen. This is James Ramos from At the Quarter Pole. We're winning history, running the neck. Thank you very much.